Okay, I'm going to go to some data that I've downloaded from the internet that contains homicides from the United States between the years 1980 and 2014. These are stored in a comma-separated values file. So I start here. I'm going to import pandas as PD as we usually do, and then import the database, which is named database.csv, as a comma-separated value file. So I press Shift and Enter. This is a huge file, and so it takes a bit to come in. And notice I got a pink warning here that's saying that some of my columns have mixed types, but that won't come in on this particular lesson. Now I'm going to look. I brought in this database. I want to know a little bit about it because it is a huge database. So I do Shift, Enter, and this database.info function, it gives me some information. For instance, so this is a huge data file. It has 638,454 entries, so that's actually just the number of rows. It has 24 columns because each of these entries have 24 little categorical or numerical random variables associated with them. We can look down here. What we're going to be interested in today are two of them. We're going to be interested in the weapon, and we're going to be interested in the perpetrator sex. Okay, so let's look at the database weapon. I shift here and enter, and that shows me, the column. If the column has 600,000 entries on it, what I want to know is what are the different types of weapons that are used. What can go in that blank. And so to do this, I do database weapon and then dot unique. Unique is a function or a method. We have to put these parentheses around it in order to get values there. So I shift and enter, and it goes and puts all of the entries that are there, goes through and takes out the repetition. And as we have this, we just blunt object, strangulation, unknown, rifle, knife, firearm, shotgun, fall, etc., etc. So these are the different means of homicide. I'm also, like I said, I was also interested in perpetrator sex, and you might think already, male or female, but let's check anyway. Shift, enter, and we get a little surprise here because we do have male and female, but we also have where the sex of the perpetrator was unknown. Presumably this would be in crimes which have been unsolved. Okay. Now I want to take this data and I want to see what it looks like when I group it by the perpetrator sex and the weapon. Okay, and I'm gonna do a count. And if I do this just by itself, it'll do it in the 24 possible categories we have. I'm only interested in looking at one of those, and it'll be per incident. Okay, so I'm going to do, I'll have group by perpetrator sex, then so I'll do a count because I want to count how many crimes were done, and I just want to look at the incident column after all of that. And so I do Shift Enter on this, and it groups all of these for me. For female, it'll run through all the weapons and do all the count of the times that happened. And I do the same with the male and the same with the unknown. As that is, it's just in a single group by. I can't work with it. So here I'm going to take this same group by, and I'm going to roll it into a data frame of its own. Okay, and I'm going to look at it again to show you, yes, this is just the same thing I had before. But now I'm going to do something different. I'm going to unstack it. You see, these are all stacked up here. Okay, I'm going to roll out where these won't be stacked anymore. And I'll show you what that looks like. It's unstacked, and so I rolled it into the unstacked. Since I put it into the same variable perp underscore wep, what does that table, that data frame, look like now? Well, it looks like this. It's laid out, okay, and I have all of the sexes, everything in the perpetrator sex category is a row, and everything in terms of that I can use to kill somebody with, or that has been used to kill somebody with, is in a column. Note that I've got unknown listed among my weapons too. And so I'm interested in knowing the weapons used by males and females, and so I'm not interested in the unknown aspect of this. So I'm going to take this table, I'm going to drop my unknown row right here, axis equals 0, and my unknown column, axis equals 1, and I'm going to keep that in my perp wep data frame. Okay, and let's see what that looked like. And so here I've got my reduced data frame where I just have the known parts. So here this is our section we've been studying, conditional probability. I want to calculate the probability that a woman kills someone if someone is killed by a blunt object, that the perpetrator is female. And so I'll need to know how many females were killed with blunt objects. So I can read it on the table, but I can access it from my table, perp wep dot loc female, right? And then blunt object, and I got 5,722. I want to know, okay, how many of those were how many people were killed by blunt objects altogether. So in my row here, I got to do my perp row, but where I would put my row, I put my colon to let it run through all of the choices, and then I do in my column blunt object, and I do my sum. And so there were 5,504. I can do this another way. I can do the sum of it all. Okay, I'll show you what this looks like. Do the sum of, oh good God, it added up all of them. I just want to pick off my blunt object. And so blunt object. And shift enter, and hey, it's the same thing both times. The numbers add up the same way. Now here I want to calculate the the probability that a woman did the crime, provided that we know that it was done with a blunt object. I do my 5,722 divided by 50,504. And so I get this. We would round this off in our answer to 0.111.